skyway, I saw above me, seeing the skyway, I saw below me, the golden valley.
Your breath, heavy against my neck, the sweet smell of your hair filling my nostrils, rocking. Surrounded by the pounding of rain. You are 3 months old, my sweet Malia, and this marks the beginning of my writing about my life with you. January 20th, 1999.
I mean, there's your grandmother and grandfather's first house that they lived in. That's your mother, your grandmother, my mama. Here's you when you were a baby.
Buddha.
That's your birth announcement. Your dad and I when we traveled across the country for 9 months in our VW van. Well, it's a big mess. Here's me with my sister Mary Vida and our little brother Edwin. That was before our mom died. And I'm not sure where we are, because I was probably 6 in that picture.
This is Lee Allen, but I wonder if you can recognize the voice without giving a name. Do you remember one time back in the wheat when it was all gone? And we thought we were so mean and so smart at that time when we were children, when we were kids. You asked me one day, was there anything that you could do that I couldn't do? And I told you I didn't think so. Well, we started out there on the farm to doing banners. Bannering one another about first one thing and then another, which it should come to your mind. You should know.
Do you know what that is?
It's a recording, I think, from somebody who worked on our farm.
Luke, do you know anything about wheat, really?
No. I know they go every year. I know it's a bunch of old people.
Every year. It's a child.
Yeah, but it's been a while. But, not really.
Is that the letter?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we have one. We have one that's for our family somewhere. But yeah, 27 days.
Yeah.
To leave your farm that you've been at for generations. Crazy.
We're here to talk about wheat.
Yeah, Wheat, Tennessee was a small farming community of 300 to 500 acre farms in East Tennessee outside of Oak Ridge. And in the 40s, it was identified by the government to utilize that property to build a third of the atomic bomb. So the people who lived in that community got a letter that was 27-day notice to leave their working farms. The land had been in our family since, I think, the late 1700s.
Well, I would be the second generation. For you guys, it would be the third generation.
Oh, yeah. But for people who actually, grew up, you were the...
Well, again, Papa lived there and grew up there as a child and even lived there as a teenager, like his brothers and sisters did. And then the war came along and they were scattered to the winds around the world in the war. And then as they were forced off the land, we grew up in, our own hometowns, but we didn't know wheat. So I guess we're really the second generation.
Yeah.
From the departure.
Me and Luke are the third, but the first generation, or the second generation that hasn't grown up on the land.
They had to pack up and leave. The government gave them a very small amount of money. Nobody objected to taking the land or the farms because it was World War II, and everybody was very patriotic at that point. So this is my grandmother Bates cedar chest. This was my mom's. It comes from Middle Tennessee, from Fayetteville, and it's filled with a grouping of things. This was my mother's dress. When my mother passed away when I was 10, my dad had everything of hers taken out of the house. So we lost a lot of her things. My Aunt Sarah took this. So my Aunt Sarah gave this to me. Your great-grandfather, my grandfather, went to Congress and protected the church of Wheat. There were several churches, but this was like the main church, and it was where a lot of our forefathers were buried. And then from then they got permission to be at the church the first weekend of October every year, and that started the Wheat Reunion, which is still going to this day, even though I don't know if there's anybody still alive who actually lived at Wheat at this point.
Well, Luke, because you don't go to the Wheat Reunion anymore, and you only went when you were younger, do you think that after the aunts and uncles and your dad stopped going, do you think that you'll still go, or do you think that they're the last generation of people to do the reunions?
I think
At least in our family, you know.
Yeah, I think, you know, a lot of it goes back to like for, you know, my dad and other people, you know, their parents had gone and had lived on that land. And for me, I kind of look at it and I'm like, you know, I don't really have a connection to it. I know it's my home to a certain extent, but I feel like a lot of people went there for the community of like remembering the past friends and family that they had in the area. And, you know, I don't really have that. And I think while it's sad, I think, you know, this probably is one of the last generations of people. We were talking about it earlier. It's just, you know, like, I don't know how you feel about it, but I feel like we don't really have a huge connection to the people.
So when I was little, my grandmother said, whoever finds the autograph in the piano, I'll leave the piano to them when I die. And so when my grandmother passed away, she had left this to me in her will. So my mom's mom, my grandmother Bates, was a pianist, and also her sister, my great aunt Dora, were also pianist. And I don't know how far it goes back on their side of the family, because all my mom's side of the family is pretty much dead. We don't know. We don't really have very much history on that side of the family.
Okay, what's that one?
So this one is my dad, my little brother, who's 4 years younger. Edwin is a pianist and songwriter. So he wrote a song called Charlotte's Song, which was our mother's name.
Think about lineage or the practice of passing things on to people, like names or belongings or stories.
What do I think about it?
Mm-hmm.
In my life, I love the history, and I love the connection of things. They remind me of my connection to my family. This is your grandmother's baby ring that I'm wearing around my neck. I feel like that there's value in that because it feels like it's that connecting point for me. You know, where, you know, like this is my great aunt Dora's, so this is on my mom's side. For me, they hold a lot of, I don't know if it's like energetic, but it's that feeling of connection is the main thing for me. And I think that oftentimes I talk to people where things are not passed on and people feel like they wish they were.
You want to tell
the chords. I already know the chords.
What? You
I
do?
already know the
Well,
chords.
then take off.
I need you to do it again so I can make sure.
We're recording us. There's a microphone. Look. So Kim is arguing.